t-test worksheet was used to calculate all of the questions under number 1A. There are two formulas used here. Firstly is the COUNTIF formula for the number of failures, which is equivalent to 54, to calculate the percentage of fails, which is equivalent to 2%, and also to calculate the percentage of passes, which is equivalent to 98%. Next, we also use the COUNTIF formula to calculate the number of data, which equivalent to 3,000 datas. So the reason being why we choose to use the COUNTIF formula, even though COUNTIF and COUNTIF formula are quite similar, because the COUNTIF formula, they have the ability to select cells and count the cells that are empty and also the cells that are in text form. Compared to the COUNTIF formula, they only select cells and count the cells that are in number form. For question 1B, there are 4 tables created to calculate the monthly and annual gross revenue for each region and each product. This data is very useful for the Europack PLC company for them to identify which region gives them the most revenue. There are 2 formulas used in this question. First is the sum formula and second is the multiplication formula. The multiplication formula is used to calculate the monthly gross revenue, which is by multiplying the unit sales and also the selling price. While the sum formula is used to calculate the annual gross revenue by adding all of the monthly revenues in that year. As a result, we get to see that the North American region gives Europack PLC company the most revenue, while China gives them the least revenue.
In question C, we wanted to figure out each region's share of sales of all 4 products that Europack sells. So to do so, we organized the data according to products and created a table of regions for each. Then, the first calculation step that we made was calculating the total world sales for the first product using the mobile unit sales worksheet. It is done by using the sum formula on all numerical data in the world column, and we got a figure of 548,883 units. Then, to calculate the region share of sales, we use the sum formula again to add the number of units sold under each region and dividing them with the total world sales and sell for respectively. We then set the number format to percentage, and lastly, we constructed a 2D pie chart for the better representation of the result. So as we can see, for MOA, the sales share is dominated by North Africa at 82.45%, while China was the least as it only made up 0.02% of the total sales share. The same steps are then repeated for each region and the rest of the products. Additionally, we also made a pie chart that represents the total world sales for each product to determine their sales share, where the industry mower seems to make up a large share of 81%, while the mower made up the smallest share of 1%.
Assalamualaikum and hi to Dr. Fikri. My name is Nur Najia binti Ahmad Subri and my student ID is 2019819854. So for questions 2, there are 5 steps that need to be followed in order to answer all the questions. The first one is by stating the hypothesis. There are 2 hypotheses, HO and H1. For the HO, the response time to customers call in Q4 2013 is equal to Q4 in 2014, whereas for H1, the response time to customers call in Q4 2013 is higher than Q4 in 2014. Then next, we will be using the toolpack function, which is on the t-test paired 2 sample for means. This test can be done by selecting the analysis toolpack and using the formula for t-test paired 2 sample for means. Then, by selecting variable 1 and variable 2 from the data given into the formula, we will get the data of t-test paired 2 sample for means. Next is by drawing the graph for both t-statistic and p-value sample test. This is the sample test of t-statistic and critical value of one tail. So we can see that the critical value and the t-statistic is on the right side, which is on the positive side. So the t-statistic is 5.796, which is higher than the critical T value, which is 1.67655, which means it is in the rejection area. The T statistic is in the rejection area. The shaded area refers to the rejection area. So we can conclude that the T statistic value is higher than the critical T value, and we are able to reject the null hypothesis. That's all from me. Thank you.
Generally, p-value is used to support or reject the null hypothesis, in which the smaller p-value that we get from the data, the stronger evidence it is for us to reject the null hypothesis. In a hypothesis testing, p-value need to be compared with alpha level. Based on the data, the t-statistic value is 5.796 and it is a positive or upper tail value. Since the test statistic is positive, the p-value in the data or output is the p-value for an upper tailed test. It can be seen how p-value 1 tail is 2.4E07, and by substituting the exponential notation of E07, we will get 0.00000024 as our p-value. Since the p-value is smaller or lesser than alpha level, which is 0.05, we are able to reject the null hypothesis. In addition, with sufficient evidence from the conclusion of p-value and critical value, we are able to reject the null hypothesis that the new IT system and training given to the call center staff do not improve their responding time to customers' call inquiry after a year. This is due to the t-statistic value, which is 5.796, that is greater than critical t-value, which is 1.677. Meanwhile, p-value, which is 0.00000024, that is smaller or lesser than alpha level, which is 0.05, which both of them shows that we are able to reject the null hypothesis.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So we move to question 3. In this question 3, it contains 3 simple linear regression in the purchasing survey worksheet. There are 3 independent variables occur, such as price level, sales force image, and product quality. The dependent variable is satisfaction variable, and the changes made by y is influenced by a variable of x, the formula that we've been applied as the function, as you can see at the slide. From this formula, a is intercept and b is slope. So for the price level and satisfaction level, price level approximately shows that 4.723 and the slope is 0.0203. It demonstrates that the satisfaction level is 0. The plot shows that no relationship between x and y because the value of y has unchanged. Next, the regression statistic that have been studied, it shows that low relationship due to multiply r is 0.02839. The r square will be indicating as 0.008% is influenced by the price level. The relationship is shown positive on the slope as shown as 0.0203. Moreover, according to the analysis of variance, shows that 0.7791, which is p-value. So the null hypothesis is not rejected because it's more than actual level or significant level, and it's mean that satisfaction level is not influenced by the price level. Number 2, sales force image and satisfaction level. The sales force image approximately shows that 3.7626 and the slope is 0.1162. It demonstrates that the satisfaction level is 0. The plot shows that positive relationship between x and y because the value of y has increases. Next, the regression statistics that have been studied, it shows that it has relationship because multiply r is 0.3409. The r square will be indicating as 11.62% that is influenced by sales force image. The relationship is displayed positive on the slope as shown 0.3784. Moreover, according to the analysis of variance, illustrate that 0.00052, which is p-value. So the null hypothesis is rejected because it less than significant level shown, and it's mean that satisfaction level is influenced by the sales force image. We move to the product quality and satisfaction level. The product quality approximately shows that 5.8 0.37 and the slope is 0.0803. It also demonstrates that the satisfaction level is 0. The plot shows that negative relationship between x and y because the value of y has decreased. Next, the regression statistic that have been studied, it shows that it has relationship because multiply r is 0.2833. The r square will be indicating as 8.03%. That is influenced by product quality. The relationship is shown negative on the slope, which is negative 0.1529. Moreover, according to the analysis of variance, shows that 0.00428, which is p-value, so the null hypothesis is rejected because it less than significant level shown, and it means that satisfaction level is influenced by the product quality. This is comparison of the result that you can see in the slide. In conclusion, the simple linear regression is an instrument that helps users to forecast and predict the outcome of independent variable and dependent variable. In this purchasing survey worksheet analysis, it just helps the manager to identify and make the best prediction towards the linear regression that occur in terms of increasing the satisfaction level. In addition, the linear is the analytic methodology that may help any business to forecast at anything for fulfill their goals for the future ahead. Thank you.